In 1972, French avant-jazz rock band the Moving Gelatine Plates released their second of two albums, The World of Genius Hans, and from it, the track Moving Theme. Okay, winding right up into things just out of nothing, just that slow, kind of warped, wind right into the track. And now we've got that jerky, asymmetric organ riff going. You know what the influence on this has got to be. Yep. The band that started it all on the Canterbury scene, Soft Machine. Although this band does have kind of like a zanier sound. There's something kind of slightly sillier about that organ sound that these guys are using versus anything that was going on in England at the time. Oh, that fluttering sound. Yeah, let's meet some of the guys that we are hearing here. Let's see. Well, bass by Didier Thibault, drums by Gérard Pons, and I'll get to the others. Okay, I'm really liking the reeds that we're hearing, and Maurice Helmlinger plays a whole host of them. Trumpet, and all the saxophones, and wow, he's quite the multi-instrumental powerhouse here. Although we've got some guests, yeah. In this speaker, I'm hearing a little bit of fuzz, kind of doubling up on that main riff. It in like a different key, like down, 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 down. Underneath that, loon, loon, loon. Now hear that we've got that really kind of earthy, thick organ, like a Hammond in this in my left, but we've also got that kind of fuzz tone. Now we got like a bass ostinato in 7/8. Two different reeds, one in this channel, one in that channel, both doing that fluttering. Okay, to organize things just slightly, okay. Bassoon, Jean-Pierre, Laroque. Guitar, Gérard, Bertram. Trombone, Michel, Camicas. And then a whole range of instruments. I guess nailing down organ and like multi-reeds. Maurice Helmlinger. Although I swear I've heard some of his instruments already simultaneously. Yeah. Okay, I love that fuzz sound, and I guess it's not a guitar, it's like a keyboard. It's like a fuzzed out keyboard. Well, no, wait a minute, no, it's a fuzz bass. That's it. Yeah, because I'm also hearing some thin guitar. Wow, now we've got like the organ doing the key doing that na 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 na. We've got the guitar doubling up on that, and then we've got the fuzz bass. So yeah, doing kind of a Hugh Hopper. If they did this all in one take, I just love how because we had that one ostinato a moment ago where there was no fuzz on it, and so he has that pedal and he just like, you know, taps it on, taps it off, depending on the section, what the section calls for. Okay, no, we got like one of the reeds in this channel. On my left speaker, no, 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 no. And we got the guitar doing kind of a counterpoint to it in the same basic cadence. Now they're really playing against each other. Yeah, that guitar and the guitar. Guitar has a bit more of a buzz now. Oh, and the bass, he turned that fuzz off. Now we got three people doing kind of counterpoint to one another. Back on. This is great. Three lines just like in complete counterpoint to one another. Yeah, reed, bass, guitar. And the bass is like in the middle. I love the mix of this. Okay, at this point I've lost count of how many sections we've gone through. It's just been like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. One, two, three, four, five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, basically those the three still reed, bass, guitar, and now some drums, you know, kicking up dust. This is really interesting, and to think that this is better produced than anything that Soft Machine managed to do in their time. Well, like at this point, but Soft Machine had gotten a little bit more kind of mannered at this point. Very very good in what they were doing, but they weren't really working this area anymore. It was more like the first two, kind of the third. That was kind of on the turn for them, but really the first three Soft Machine albums are so murky in their sound, so muddy. So you don't have this kind of tonal clarity and separation of instruments and on those records. So this is like showing like what, and to think like in France, to think a French band just a few years later just would have such a better sonic arsenal at their disposal in the studio. I'm also somewhat reminded of Egg, except there was a lot more range of sound on this than there was on those Egg albums. Like, Egg comes to mind because the keyboards tended to be, more kind of, at times, less messy sounding. Yeah, but, and they could be kind of on the goofy end at times. Let's see. Let's hear another track off the World of Genius Hans. The next track, Cauchemar. Harpsichord. Oh, I love those drum rolls. the way those rolls are like are like cutting up this like modulating opening theme. And, okay, the bass suddenly coming in the middle. I was just about to think, was that bass like doubling up on that harpsichord? No, that was a guitar. That was like low end guitar. Everyone playing like notes against one another. One line of notes, another line, or a complementary line of notes. The bass comes in, plays some notes. Slightly pensive figure, dominated by the bass, that bass line, and I heard some harmonic guitar plucking on there. Just well, let's see. One band on the continent that kind of sounded like this at this point. The Finnish band Tassavalon Presidenti. Tassavalon Presidenti. Oh well, the closest resemblance to this band, the Belgian act, Pazop, except they didn't get their album out at the time. Their 1972 album would have been, wasn't released until 1996 as an archival release. I'm trying to figure out now. I'm starting to kind of feel like the drummer might be the ultimate player here. His control of those snare rolls, just the tone, the way he just like rolls them out and then immediately like cuts them off. Oh, that was a great moment there. That open cadence sustain of that fuzz just kind of, simmering out for my right, and then that really brisk pace we got going there with that fluid circular bass ostinato. Oh, once again, great counterpoint between the reed and the guitar tone. And this time the guitar is having kind of a vaguely frippish type sound to it. And of course the bass, doing those like spiraling up and down in the middle of the mix. Yeah, the guitar is kind of like bristling with that. A sound that was once described as the hollow tube sound or something, and then with a bit of fuzz. Fripp was just kind of developing that though around this time. Love that bass amid that like kind of cymbal spray. With all the section, who's even who's even paying attention to the actual format? Like, are we on like the fourth movement or the fifth? Yeah, it might be. I can't pick like the ultimate virtuoso from the band. Every time that drummer just does one of those like rolls, like unleashes it, then immediately halts it like that. The control of that just amazes me each time. A variation of the theme we heard at the beginning of this track. And those rolls just perfectly, unleashed amid the melody. Reed once again, and the guitar doing that kind of fuzzier tone now. A hard time counting this. Yeah, it's having a hard time finding the starting note of the bar on that one. Oh, I've probably counted it already. Yeah, I heard. You can tell that they definitely picked up on the basically like volume 2 that made a lot of use of like 7/8. And such. I heard like 7/8, 5/8, and yeah. Anyway, Moving Gelatine Plates with Cauchemar, and before that, Moving Theme from their 1972 sophomore release, The World of Genius Hans. Yeah, they would release these two albums on CBS, the self-titled in 1971 and this one in 72. And then they basically broke up, but they kind of reformed in 1980 under the name Moving and released a third album. Another band I forgot to mention. Yeah, Super Sister had a similar sound, except they were more they had a lot more. They used a lot more vocals though, yeah, their first two albums kind of walked the fine line between really musical elements like jazz rock and odd meters and such, in that soft machine vein, and then humor as well in the lyrics particularly, and somewhat in the music. And then after a few albums, the humor started to kind of get the better of them, and they started to become kind of started to go down more the novelty route. Anyway, but that's a topic for another whole nother video. Yeah, so it's amazing. The sound, basically, that soft machine started remained a very small, confined movement, actually, in England, for an influential sound that that kind of like spawned its own following and its own league of bands and such. It may have been small locally, but it ended up becoming very widespread in other regions within a few short years. And it's kind of like one of those genres where, and since it's a very musical genre, there's very little like translation needed. So the following for this kind of music tended to be much more open to purveyors from outside the English-speaking world, and it was one of the first types of rock really to where that brought fan communities from different nations with different languages together. I mean, like you basically had like Soft Machine and Egg. I wouldn't really put Caravan in there because they were doing a totally different kind of music really. And like you had like one band, ultimately, by like 1973, 74, you could say you could point to like one example, maybe two in some cases, from each country across Europe, Scandinavia. Like in a few years, there were a few more bands. Like one band, Bonfire, yeah, from Netherlands, kind of had a sound like this. Yeah, yeah, just one from each country, and then ultimately later on, bands in Japan, even in the United States. As a matter of fact, the very first opening notes of Moving Theme had me thinking of a much later track by an American avant avant rock duo, the Rascal Reporters. Yeah, from their 1988 album Happy Accidents. Yeah, the way it wound up out of it was kind of like slow, and then it like, yeah, that pitch bending as it the speed was like as it was brought up to speed and everything. Yeah, and the similar organ sounds and such. Yeah, and that overall goofy vibe. Yeah. Anyway, moving gelatin plates. Yeah, an important link in a very in a small yet very widespread style of music that has gained a very loyal following, that has remained pretty solid for 50 years. And each decade you have a few bands from around the world that purvey this style, and it really never dates because it just seems to, because it's always been so outside the times. Yeah. For more rubies and sapphires from the two moving from the moving gelatin plates and the two moving gelatin plates and the moving album, see the directory of albums by French artists linked in the description below for red out tracks and purples from a whole host of French artists from the 70s and 80s, over 11 pages and 1,000 albums currently. Like and subscribe, follow me on social media, share the video, and leave a comment if there are any observations you have about the two tracks we just heard: the layers, the interplay, the counterpoint, the harmonics, the sound effects, the tones, the soloing, who had the best moment, the best break, which passages did you like the best. And until next time, this is Zaragon, the world's most ear-traveled drum maximalist, signing off.